Hey guys, Dark Angel here with a little special insert. So today I was doing some research and discovered that, there was a conflict on a different channel that I was looking at watching, and I'm paying attention to it, so I figured, it was about the state's requirement that you register your motor vehicle. So, you know, the state 9 times out of 10 is going to always make a law that does not collaborate with what federal guidelines are. Okay, so a lot of people believe that oh, they're gonna come in compliance, and that's not necessarily true. So I wanted to take and read what I found, and you can take it from there as to how you want to decipher it. Okay, so it says the answer to the question regarding if vehicle registration is required or not depends on whether or not the vehicle owner is a U.S. citizen. A U.S. citizen is not required to register a vehicle, as car plates are a voluntary theft deterrent according to the U.S. Code. U.S. Constitution, 6th Amendment, Clause 2, Section 1, places a precedence on federal law, meaning that federal law always overrides state legislation, municipal codes, or city ordinance when there is a conflict. Now, keep in mind, state ordinance, city ordinance say that you have to register your vehicle and license them. Okay? So, that first paragraph right off the top tells me that the state is in conflict with that of the federal regulations. As U.S. Code Title 34 and U.S. Code Title 39 both make vehicle license plates a voluntary theft deterrent, state legislation cannot make vehicle registration mandatory for a U.S. citizen. The U.S. Constitution defines citizen rights. One of those rights is to be able to rely on the unalienable rights listed in the U.S. Constitution to be valid within the entirety of the whole United States. And another is to be able to rely on congressional law as valid and enforced throughout the entire United States, relying on federal law as always correct. Simplifies maintaining lawful conduct for a U.S. citizen. In regards to federal law and international treaties, an immigration contract between the United States of America and a foreign nation may require a foreign citizen living in the U.S. to have their property registered and for any permits to participate in behavior, which I have no idea what that means. So we're going to have to look into that a little further and see what they are referring to when they say behavior. Not allowed in their nation or citizenship to be documented. This would need to be examined on a case-by-case basis with an immigration attorney to determine if promulgated rules for a foreign citizen with lawful U.S. residence places precedence on federal law or the immigration treaty. As far as U.S. citizens go, per U.S. Constitution 6th Amendment, when there is a conflict between state legislation and congressional law, the state legislation will not prevail. State judges are bound by the U.S. Constitution to uphold this citizen right. Vehicle registration is a voluntary theft deterrent per congressional law, and the U.S. Constitution Amendment 4 at 1 becomes part of the promulgated rules associated with U.S. Code Title 34, 12.6.11, C2. In cases where the U.S. Constitution is in conflict with congressional law, the U.S. Constitution has precedence over congressional law, which it does. However, I want to go back because there's a question of, I'm going to say, an opinion of difference. Because they're referring to this Title 34, 12.6.11, C and 2. I actually have the application here for that, and the application specifically states on it, let's see, what does it say? C2. So let's look at C2 real quick of the application. Ah, there you go. So that's what I thought it was going to say. So in the application itself, it says that the theft deterrent program is voluntary. Okay, so when I raised the question about what is the uniform design and what shall it be, and they said that it'd be a highly visible instrument. So when I got to thinking about it, I thought, well, the only thing highly visible on your automobile is your license plate. But then it dawned on me again, when the police officers run your plate, all your information and everything is out there, right? So if you're living in that of the private sector and you are being forced to register your motor vehicle, that violates your constitutional rights to privacy. Keep that in mind, because this whole act that they are referring to is all going to come down to the dependency of to the relying on the appellant process and how you go about your appeal. That's what this is all going to go down to if you have this, because even though it says it's voluntary and that you sign a voluntary consent form, whether you sign that form or not, once you register that plate, register that automobile, that plate that goes on that car carries all that information on it anyways. Again, violating your right to privacy because it's putting all your information out there. Now today, I just discovered that in Texas, they are now calling cars without registration and tabs and all that ghost cars. And somehow, I don't know how, I don't know the whole story of how it's actually going down, but somehow the law enforcers are deeming these cars unfit and unsafe for the roads. Basically what they're saying is that, like, I know in one of the conversations that the officer had, he was saying something to the effect of this car hadn't been inspected in so many years, a number of years. But then when do you have to have a car inspected? They've pretty much, the Department of Transportation has pretty much done away with inspections of cars. So how in the world did he get or come up with the audacity to say that due to the fact that the car hadn't been inspected in so many years because it hadn't been registered, that the car was unfit to be traveling? Remember back in another video I was telling you guys about how the state deems you to be a nuisance when you don't come in compliance with their law. Okay, basically what happened here is this theft deterrent program that they refer to is all based off of your license plate. Now if you go with what this rule says here, and I actually have the brand new 2023 right here. This is the brand new 2023 law. I don't know if you can see that, but if you can see that, this is that brand new law that they're talking about. Title 34. And it's not new. It actually went into effect back in 1994. So this has been in effect for a while. Okay, so this has been in effect since 1994, and they developed this program back in September of 1994. And they say that not later than 180 days after the September 13th, 1994, the Attorney General shall develop in cooperation with the states a national voluntary motor vehicle theft prevention program, in this section referred to as the program, under which the owner of a motor vehicle may voluntarily sign a consent form with a participating state or locality in which the motor vehicle owner states that the vehicle is not normally operated under certain specified conditions and agrees to display program decals or devices on the owner's vehicle. I've never seen one of these decals. I've never seen a device. You know, the only thing I know of is the plates. And even if you don't sign that form, your information's still on those plates. Because long before this program was ever invented, police will pull up behind you, run your plates, and they would know everything they need to know about you before they even got out of their car after having pulled you over and walked up to your car. So they already knew who you was. They already knew if you was wanted or not. They already knew everything about you. So that's a bunch of bullcrap right there. But again, it invades your privacy, your right to private travel without government infringement, because of the simple fact is, if you're allowed to have free travel, okay, without government abridgment, government interference, why are you being forced to put plates on your car? A question of all questions, huh? Because the Constitution says you are allowed to free movement without government interference. Well, if that's the case, why am I told and being forced to put plates on my car to whenever I drive down the street, all the police got to do is just look at my plate, and if he decides that he's having a bad day, he's going to pull me over, but yet I'm supposed to be protected by no government interference. Hmm. You know, and then when I raised the question about, so what is the uniform decal or device designs, they said, oh, there's nothing in particular. Well, the tabs and the plates, it's got that Unicode on it. That's how you're getting it. Or just the number in general, because once the number's assigned to you, that's pretty much your business license. That's your number. So yeah, I don't know, if any of you guys know of anything that can contradict this or actually, support this. Hey, throw something down in the comments. Let me know, because I'm kind of curious. I'm questioning the part of it as to the voluntarism of it, but on the same strength, I'm secured in my decision, my personal decision. I'm secure in it as to what I believe, because of the simple fact is, I believe that plates and registration violates that of your rights to privacy, and that's just the bottom line. But I also believe that no address, no jurisdiction. You know what I'm saying? And as long as you have no address, you have no jurisdiction. Now, that would actually contradict, but not really. It actually contradicts you're a United States citizen, a United States of America of the Republic citizen, But again, it's some play in there that can be looked at. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to ramble, and I'm not trying to be negative, because that's one thing I am not going to do, is I'm not going to stand down. It's just sometimes you find some things and you wonder about the validity of it. Is it valid? How true can it be? And what would this affect? You know what I'm saying? But again, all of the actions that are going to be taken are all going to be by and through an appellate procedure. So the bottom line is we all have to be careful how we go about doing the appeals. Because if you do not do the appeals right, the appeals will fail. So you have to keep that in mind, because that's where everything's gonna be. That's where the tail of the tape's gonna be. And if you don't know how to do your appeals, or you don't have someone that's good in your corner that can do a good appeal, then you might fall into some kind of trouble. So I would say, be careful in your appeal. You know, be careful in your appeal, because that's where everything's going to go. So, again, be careful, everybody. Stay on it. Continue to do what we do. And this is Dark Angel. Hey, I'm up out of here. Deuces.